going to share some reflections to get you thinking about the final Socratic Seminar. I have just one question I'm going to focus on, and that's why study history? This is a question I posed to you on the first day of class. Why study history? But before we can answer this question, we must start with another question. What is history? Remember to define your terms. A simple definition of history is the study of past events. But we know from our study of world history this year, to study the stories of the past is complex. In our study of world history this year, we have analyzed people's perspectives and biases. Remember, our point of view shapes the way we interpret events, and thus, to tell the story of the past, we must seek out multiple perspectives. In our study of world history this year, we have investigated an array of evidence. Remember, we must ask ourselves, how do we know what's true? What evidence do we have to support claims about past events? In our study of world history this year, we have evaluated the trustworthiness of information. This is where healthy skepticism and a good crack detector comes in handy. This is history. Trying to figure out what happened in the past, we must consider point of view, evidence, and trustworthiness. This brings us back to the question, why study history? I'm going to share with you 3 reasons I presented at the beginning of the school year. The first is to understand the present and prepare for the future. As you look back at the topics we explored this year, think about the central issues at hand, such as distribution of power, access to information and resources, as well as responding to change. Another reason to study history is to promote tolerance. Ask yourself, how might knowing about the past help us become more tolerant of others? How can the study of stories of the past help us develop empathy? What role might technology play in promoting tolerance? And finally, and arguably the most important reason to study history is to encourage civic participation. Civic participation is vital to a healthy democracy. This is why we provide free public education. And it is through our investigation of history you have practiced 4 essential skills. The first is how to find and evaluate information. We are bombarded with information everywhere. There are times when I experience information overload because of the constant flood of information that surrounds me. The key is to filter, narrow the scope of information, to make it more manageable to actually find and evaluate the information you need. This was the point of the pizza search game, finding the reliable information we are looking for quickly. The second skill is asking questions. I hope you leave this class with more questions than answers. Questions are more important than answers. Questions unlock learning. Questions lead to innovation. When I was in high school, I had all the answers. But the older I get, the more questions I have. Socrates famously said, I know one thing, that I know nothing. I am your teacher, and am not afraid to admit that I do not have all the answers. It's the questions I have that fuel my passion for teaching and learning. The third skill is define your terms. Take control of ambiguity by defining your terms. Before you jump to conclusions, define your terms. And lastly, connect the dots. Take the time to step back, and I hope all of you will continue to develop the skill of mind mapping. Remember this slide? I showed it to you on the first day of school when we started our journey together. From day 1, I challenged you to think differently, and if you remember nothing else from this class, please remember this. Be creative. Creativity is a skill that we can all get better at with practice. Be bold. Don't be afraid to take risks. Pursue your passion, go for it. Be heard. Whether it is in 140 characters, 250 words, an essay, a video, a class discussion at the top of the quad, wherever the platform may be, make your voice heard. We all have a story to tell.